Joining me now, Fiscal Times columnist Liz Peek, also Tom Buchholz, author of The Price of Prosperity. Liz, I mean, this is essentially what I'm thinking is that, this has gone back to FDR. And think about FDR and the four freedoms, including the freedom from want. I mean, this is the last leg of that. Once Hillary gets in office, we won't have to worry about anything.
Not true. Look, Hillary Clinton, mainly, we know she's going to say Thursday because she's already said it with Elizabeth Warren standing by her side. And mainly it's going to be about how unfair the economy is, how the rich have to pay more, the corporations have to pay more. It's going to be about raising taxes. And I have yet to find a state or a government that has really prospered and grown faster by raising taxes and imposing yet more regulations. When she talks about infrastructure, how is she going to pay for it? By raising your taxes and my taxes, because it's not fair as it is. She never says what is fair, by the way, and we know that the numbers really don't bear out her charges anyway. So I think it's a bogus sort of plan, and I don't think it is. I mean, it's a very starkly different plan than Donald Trump has put forward, which embraces individualism,
sure,
technology change, etc. She has none of that.
But this does dovetail nicely with the politics of envy, Todd, and the notion that, hey, you know what, America's the richest country in the world, and my boss looks like he keeps getting a raise, and he's driving a nice car, and he lives in a big house, and my salary hasn't increased in a long time. Maybe the system doesn't work. Maybe we need someone like a Hillary Clinton to make this thing fair.
Well, you know, it's interesting. Hillary Clinton, in a way, trades on the 1990s because the economy was good in the 1990s, and Bill Clinton, her husband, was president in the 1990s. But Hillary Clinton pretty much opposes everything Bill Clinton did in the Oval Office, including the things you can't talk about in front of children. Bill Clinton signed a crime bill. She's against that. He signed NAFTA. She's against it. He cut capital gains tax rates. She's against it. He created, with the Republicans, welfare. Yeah. She's against it. So the idea that somehow adopting policies that are both against Bill Clinton's policies of the 1990s and against Ronald Reagan's policies of the 1980s, both of which created the strongest 20-year record of economic growth that we've had in about 100 years, that being against them somehow is going to create prosperity? I don't think so.
Well, I never really hear I don't hear use the word prosperity often. We hear use the word fear.
Growth.
Or growth. You know, listen, Ronald Reagan 3.5% average growth through his 8 years. Bill Clinton 3.9%, helped to a degree with the big boom in technology. But to your point, we had a nice period there. That was Pax Americana in many ways, if you will. But Liz, when I look at the postmortem on Brexit, one of the things that struck me is how many people lost faith in capitalism. And I think that's happening in this country. I mean, look at the rise of Bernie Sanders. I think there's an appetite out there for someone to sell America on the notion that capitalism was great, but it no longer is great, and we need to tweak it somehow.
Well, look, that's sort of the Larry Kudlow message, right? That growth and profits are the mother's milk of prosperity. And again, you don't really hear much about that because Hillary Clinton, let's just back up a moment. What is she promising? She's promising 4 more years. Does anyone really think 4 more years of failed policies that have delivered subpar growth are a good thing? The average growth in this country for 50 years has been 3.2%. We have come close to that in the last 7 years twice. It's really a remarkable failure under Obama, and you just have this vision of a plow horse pulling behind them all these regulations on energy, huge job creator, on banking, another big job creator, etc. It doesn't work.
Well, Todd, is there something, though, to the notion that successive presidential administrations have all seen a little bit post-recession recoveries, all were a little bit worse? You know, Obama stuck at 2.1%. George Bush, though, was at 2.8%.
No, look, there were people before Ronald Reagan became president who said we would never again have 2.5% growth. When Alan Greenspan testified before Congress in the early 1990s, he said we'll never again have growth averaging 2.5%. So, look, Hillary Clinton is about envy and redistribution. She's the sort of person that would see a fat person and a skinny person walking down the street and say, oh, the skinny person's skinny because the fat person ate all her food. Well, that's not the way capitalism or our economy should work. That's not the way we should be looking at it.
How does the message get articulated to people, particularly younger people, that it's not a static pie, that it
not
does
a zero-sum game.
Right, it's not a zero-sum game, because I think more and more people believe that.
Yeah, no, I totally agree. One is you need to talk about innovation. And again, Hillary's in trouble here because she doesn't like the gig economy. She has made this clear.
Right.
Why? Because labor unions and entrenched interests are opposed to that.
Right.
She's about the status quo. We don't want that.
All right. Well, you guys are absolutely fantastic. Thank you very much.